This is the only steering wheel in Formula One history that worked like a cheat code. The Mercedes DAS system let drivers pull their steering wheel forward and backward to change how the front wheels pointed. It gave Mercedes instant tire warming, better grip, and a superhuman advantage. The system was completely legal, and Formula One banned it immediately after one season because it made Mercedes too dominant. The problem Mercedes needed to solve. Let's go back to late 2019. Mercedes had dominated Formula One for 6 consecutive seasons. The W11 was being developed for 2020, but engineers identified a problem: tire temperature. Getting Formula One tires into the perfect operating window is critical. The team struggled with tire warm-up on certain tracks and in specific conditions. Formula One tires need heat to generate grip. Cold tires are slippery, dangerous, slow. Drivers weave on formation laps to generate tire temperature through friction. The Mercedes cars sometimes couldn't warm tires fast enough. The team needed a solution that gave drivers control over tire temperature during races. Mercedes engineers had a radical idea. What if drivers could adjust the toe angle of the front wheels while driving? Toe angle is how much the wheels point inward or outward. Toe in means the wheels point slightly toward each other. Toe out means the wheels point slightly away. DAS would let drivers change this angle mid-race. The genius was hiding in the F1 rulebook. Regulations said steering systems must control the wheel's direction. The system technically controlled direction by adjusting toe angle. The team found a loophole nobody else noticed. It would be legal if Mercedes could build it. Mercedes created DAS in complete secrecy. Development happened behind closed doors at Mercedes facilities. The team tested it on simulators before putting it on an actual car. The innovation remained hidden from rival teams until pre-season testing in 2020. How the DAS system worked. The mechanical brilliance is incredible. It connected the steering column to front suspension geometry in a revolutionary way. When drivers pulled the steering wheel toward their chest, the system straightened the front wheels to zero toe. When drivers pushed the wheel away, it returned wheels to normal toe-in settings. The system changed tire behavior instantly. When drivers pulled to straighten wheels, the tires scrubbed against the track differently. It generated friction and heat in tire contact patches. DAS could warm cold tires in just seconds on a straight. Mercedes had tire temperature control that no other team possessed. The grip advantage was enormous. Warm tires grip better in corners. Mercedes drivers could use it on straights before braking zones to warm tires, then attack corners with optimal tire temperature. This meant Mercedes cars had better traction than rivals who couldn't warm tires as effectively. The system also affected weight transfer. Changing toe angle altered how the car's weight shifted under acceleration and braking. It let drivers fine-tune weight distribution dynamically. Mercedes drivers had another tool to optimize car balance. The qualifying advantage was massive. Outlaps before flying laps are crucial in qualifying. Mercedes drivers used the system to bring tires up to temperature perfectly before qualifying attempts. This meant their tires were at peak grip while rivals struggled with temperature. The innovation looked strange on onboard cameras. Drivers would pull the steering wheel toward themselves on straights, and the steering column physically moved. The visual signature was unmistakable once people knew what to look for, but initially it confused everyone watching. The exposure and controversy. Pre-season testing in Barcelona, February 2020, the Mercedes W11 hit the track with DAS installed. Onboard cameras caught Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas pulling and pushing their steering wheel. The movement was visible to anyone watching closely. Rival teams immediately noticed something weird about Mercedes steering. Red Bull spotted it first. Their engineers saw the steering wheel moving forward and backward. The team knew Mercedes was doing something, but they couldn't immediately understand what. The purpose remained mysterious for several days. Social media exploded with speculation. Fans posted onboard footage showing the strange steering wheel movement. It became the biggest talking point of pre-season testing. Everyone wanted to know what Mercedes had invented. Mercedes eventually explained the system. The team confirmed it adjusted toe angle for tire temperature management. The explanation made the genius clear. This was legal, brilliant, and gave Mercedes a massive competitive advantage. Rival teams protested to the FIA. Red Bull and others argued it violated the spirit of F1 regulations. The system was too powerful, rivals claimed. It gave Mercedes an unfair advantage that smaller teams couldn't afford to develop. The FIA investigated thoroughly. They examined it against every relevant regulation. The FIA's conclusion? The Mercedes DAS system was completely legal. It followed every rule in 2020 F1 technical regulations. Mercedes had found a legitimate loophole, and it would be allowed for 2020. But the FIA immediately announced changes for 2021. DAS would be banned starting in 2021. The FIA rewrote regulations specifically to outlaw it. Mercedes could use it for one season, then it would disappear forever. The impact and legacy. The 2020 season proved its dominance. Lewis Hamilton won his 7th World Championship with DAS helping throughout. Mercedes won the Constructors' Championship easily. The W11 was one of the most dominant F1 cars ever built. The system contributed significantly to that dominance. It gave Hamilton and Bottas confidence that rivals lacked. The drivers knew they could warm tires whenever needed. This meant they could push harder earlier in stints. The advantage was psychological as much as technical. Other teams tried developing their own versions. Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren all explored similar concepts, but developing a system like this required massive resources and time. By the time rivals could copy it, the FIA had already banned it for 2021. The Mercedes DAS system represents how F1 teams push boundaries. It shows that reading rulebooks carefully reveals opportunities. Mercedes engineers saw a gap in regulations that nobody else noticed. They exploited that gap perfectly. The ban shows F1's approach to innovation. When teams develop something too dominant, the FIA eliminates it. DAS was legal but too powerful. It gave Mercedes advantages that threatened competitive balance. The FIA killed it to protect the sport's competitiveness. This is the Mercedes DAS system, F1's secret steering trick that gave Mercedes superhuman grip for one glorious season. It wasn't illegal, it was brilliant. Mercedes found a loophole, exploited it perfectly, and dominated 2020 with technology nobody else had. This shows why top teams invest hundreds of millions in F1. It demonstrates that tiny advantages compound into championships. DAS proved that innovation still matters even in F1's restricted technical regulations. It got banned, but it accomplished its mission. Lewis Hamilton won his 7th title. Mercedes dominated another season. The system became legendary as the steering wheel that worked like a cheat code.